Today we begin our study with some words from our Lord in Luke 9, verses 23 through 27. Here he stated, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross daily, and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man profited, if he gain the whole world, and lose himself, or be cast away? For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own glory, and in his Father's, and of the holy angels." Jesus had just finished saying that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be slain, and be raised the third day. Jesus was about to be crucified, and some of the very ones to whom he was speaking would deny him. They would be ashamed of him. Therefore, Jesus sets forth the fact that if we deny him, he will deny us. If we are ashamed of him, he will be ashamed of us. Now ask yourself this question. Have you ever been ashamed of Jesus? Now, I'm sure most people would say emphatically, no, we've never been ashamed of Jesus. Yet, many do, and some do so, and do not realize that they are ashamed of the Lord. Luke says that there are two ways in which we can be ashamed of the Lord. First, to be ashamed of owning him as your own, Luke 9 and verse 26. Did you ever hear someone using the Lord's name in vain, or running Jesus down in some manner, and simply duck your head and act as though you didn't hear it? You have the mentality, I don't want to start something. Secondly, we can be ashamed of Christ by being ashamed of his word. T.B. Larimore said, "I would be ashamed to be afraid, and afraid to be ashamed, to preach anything that is taught in the New Testament." Paul wasn't ashamed of our Lord or his word. "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation, to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek." If we really believe that, we will then not be ashamed of this word. We will study so as not to be ashamed. We will abide in him so as not to be ashamed. To be ashamed of Christ is to be ashamed to stand for his truth. And when we say we don't want to cause any controversy and therefore avoid an issue of truth, or refuse to teach or speak out on a Bible truth, then we can be sure that we're ashamed of Christ. Christ stirred up controversy everywhere he went by teaching the truth. Well, why did he do this? Well, it's because he was not ashamed of God. He loved mankind, and he wanted them to be saved. So who is ashamed of our Lord? Well, first, the skeptical are ashamed of him. Second, the disobedient are ashamed of him. Third, those who compromise with the world are ashamed of him. Fourth, those who neglect his ordinances are ashamed of him. Christ has said that if we are ashamed of him or his words, then when he comes in his glory, he will be ashamed of us. But there's also something else said about this matter. God says that if we are not ashamed of him, then he will not be ashamed of us. Friends, are you ashamed of Christ? Are you ashamed to take a stand for his truth? Are you ashamed to be known as a Christian? Then make a change today. Take courage. As the song says, stand up for Jesus. Do his will. Hold fast to that which we know to be the truth. Proclaim the gospel to those who are lost. Stand up for Jesus. Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today, and have a blessed day.